There you are, Opal. I hope you don't mind me making a video on you.
All you wanna do is see me turn into...
I'll take that as a yes. Okay then, so who exactly is Opal?
Oh, it's the two of us, mashed together.
Well, you're not wrong.
A giant woman.
You've got a point there.
Opal is an amalgam of our combined magical and physical attributes fused into a single entity.
Also true, but let's talk about her in more detail. Opal is the gem fusion between amethyst and pearl, a gem of few words and even fewer appearances. She debuted in the episode Giant Woman, which is the first time we hear about fusion. She's the first fusion we see. Well, actually Garnet is, but at that time her status as a fusion was merely speculation, which is funny considering how glaring all the evidence was, but I digress. So the episode follows Pearl, Amethyst and Stephen going on a quest to find the Heaven Beetle, as instructed by Garnet. The trip is anything but smooth sailing because the gems can't seem to get along. Stephen has his own motive. He just wants to get to see a giant woman, so he does everything in his power to keep the peace. Crazy that it took Stephen getting eaten alive by a giant bird for Amethyst and Pearl to finally lock in. Opal is tall,
That part's Pearl.
with a graceful, elongated frame reminiscent of Pearl's slender build, but more filled out. She has a pale lavender hue, blending Amethyst's purple with Pearl's cream complexion. She has long, flowing, silvery white hair that cascades down her back in a massive, wavy ponytail that depicts Amethyst's wild, voluminous texture. Her facial structure shows mostly Pearl's features, her sharp, angular face and pointed nose, but she gets her full lips from Amethyst. Similar to genetics, I believe they are certain dominant gem traits that shine through no matter the fusion they find themselves in. Pearl's pointed nose, for instance. Opal wears a sleeveless, leotard-like bodice and shades of purple and cream blending their colours. A star emblem, a node to her crystal gem allegiance, sits at the bottom of her drape. Her outfit has flowing fabric elements, similar to Pearl's ballet-inspired attire, but a bit more casual. She's all on her toes, like she's in a constant state of ballet. Another ode to Pearl's character design. She has gem placements on her chest and forehead, and in usual fashion we'll discuss the implication of this. Gems with the chest placement usually lead with their emotions, and this may manifest in a number of ways, while gems with the forehead placement are highly intellectual and show a high degree of reasoning. These two sentiments are usually at opposite ends of the spectrum. You have someone who operates more based on emotions and another who operates more based on intellect. This is a recipe for a lot of quarrels, and as we see, this is the case with Pearl and Amethyst, which is why forming Opal isn't a regular occurrence. Her chest placement combined with the head placement is what gives Opal this calm, motherly aura. It's what makes her come off as always at peace and always zen, the balanced combination of emotion and intellect. She's quite different from Amethyst's loud persona and Pearl's overthinking. She's an amalgam of those two traits. She has this hippie vibe about her. I feel that's the combination of Amethyst lazy or chill side and the ethereal aspects of Pearl. She's voiced by Amy Mann, who, interestingly enough, is in a band with the voice actor of Steg, Ted Leo. They're in an indie rock band called The Both. Her weapon is a bow formed from the fusion of Pearl's spear and Amethyst's whip. Pearl's spear forms the body of the bow, and Amethyst's whip is the string. The light arrows Opal is able to conjure come from Pearl. She's able to emit similar blasts from her spear. She's really strong, even stronger than Garnet according to Sardonyx's ranking. Her strength is no surprise, as I imagine you would need that for the level of agility she displays. Pearl fusions involving her and one other gem are exceptionally light on their feet and have really high precision skills. Opal is a great shot, and Sardonyx knows just where to hit to dismantle a tower as a result of this precision. We can't discuss Opal without talking about her forgetfulness. It was even referenced in the book Guide to the Crystal Gems, as well as in a Dove Project clip where she kept asking for her lines. Let's not forget how she totally forgot to retrieve the Heaven Beetle, which was the whole point of that mission. Honestly, I can't even really fault her for that, because after everything that went down, the Heaven Beetle was the last thing on my mind as well. The general consensus on what causes her forgetfulness is the extreme state of zen she's always in. But I have another theory. When gems fuse, they should have shared memory, right? Like if you were to say something to a gem fusion, they should both remember what you said when they unfuse. They are also able to see even further down into each other's memory, like with Stevonnie in many instances. Connie could see Stephen's memories, and Stephen could see Connie's memories. If that's the case, how have the gems never known about Pearl's secrets, especially Rose's true identity? I believe it has to do with her layering her memories, hiding important things deeper down into her gem, in areas that can't be accessed by the gem she's currently fused with. Maybe Pearl making the extra effort to lock away her thoughts while she's fused with Amethyst plays into the memory loss of Opal. I plan on making a detailed video explaining this later. It's no surprise that fans of Steven Universe often liken Opal to figures like Parvati and Artemis, two powerful goddesses who represent balance, protection, and the merging of contrasting forces. Parvati is a Hindu goddess associated with harmony, love, and devotion, but she's also a manifestation of Shakti, pure divine energy. In many myths, Parvati merges with her consort Shiva to form Ardhanarishvara, a deity representing the union of masculine and feminine energies. This mirrors Opal's creation, as she's a fusion of Pearl and Amethyst, blending their polar opposite personalities into one graceful, powerful being. Pearl's discipline and precision balance Amethyst's wild, chaotic nature, much like how Parvati balances gentleness with fierce strength when the world calls for it. Then there's Artemis, the Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and protector of young girls. Opal's weapon, a bow, directly connects her to Artemis, who's almost always depicted with her iconic silver bow and arrows. Like Artemis, Opal embodies independence and a quiet, almost ethereal strength. She's protective of those she cares for, like Steven and the crystal gems, but is also elusive and fleeting, reflecting Artemis's status as a solitary, untamed figure who roams the forests freely. In comparison to most other fusions, Opal's existence is quite volatile. I feel like her and Alexandrite were competing for who could stay fused the shortest, but the cause of this is pretty self-explanatory. I talked extensively on Pearl and Amethyst's relationship in my character analysis of Sugilite. Here's the clip from that. One reason is rooted in their execution of activities. Amethyst's laid-back vibe is in direct contrast to Pearl's over-analysis. In the episode Gem Glow, Steven tries to summon his weapon and goes to the crystal gems for advice. Let's just say they had very differing opinions on what is required to successfully summon a weapon.
Did Pearl tell you the pedal thing?
Yeah, I need to practice really hard so I can dance like a tree. I think.
Listen, Steven, all that practice stuff is no fun.
Amethyst's and Sugilite's execution may be seen as reckless, but it does get the job done sometimes. Pearl's setback with decision-making is her over-analysis of things that can be done in an instant, which Amethyst finds grating.
Amethyst, if you go around to the side and disturb them with a spin attack, and Garnet, if you move to the ceiling and strike this exact spot, then I can advance with my
Bagel sandwich! Brilliant.
Oh, hey, what do you know?
These differences usually cause them to butt heads more often than not. As much as Pearl, Amethyst, and Garnet are Steven's teammates, they're also his parental figures. They quite literally raised him, and as you would imagine, their differing personalities lead them to have different parenting styles. Pearl is more of the overprotective, hands-on guardian, trying to keep him safe from the slightest harm, while also getting him to do his chores. Amethyst is what people would describe as the cool aunt who is more on board with his shenanigans. This is another potential source of conflict in scenarios where Pearl thinks Amethyst is being a bad influence, or when Amethyst thinks Pearl is smothering Steven. Pearl has an edge over Amethyst in a number of areas, but not with social cues and overall emotional intelligence. Her fixation on facts of a matter causes her to overlook emotions involved, like when she was explaining the kindergarten to Steven, depicting it as an awful place, which is factual, but she didn't consider Amethyst's emotions, which led to one of their major fights.
I'm sorry I'm not like Pearl with her fancy form and her clean room with no monsters in it. I'm more like Pearl now. Isn't it wonderful? I feel practically perfect.
Regardless, you should check that out. The summary is that they butt heads often for a plethora of reasons. They are more or less opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to their personality, causing their relationship to not be so stable, which doesn't make for good fusion, considering the whole premise of fusion is synchronization and compatibility. Opals in real life are one of the most fragile gemstones, which can be likened to how easy she comes undone in the show. The ease at which they formed Opal when working with the drill shows you a significant improvement in their relationship from the first time we saw her. Opal is one of my favourite fusions. I love how mysterious she is, but yet so motherly. Her singing back the giant woman's song to Steven is cemented in my memory.
Do you know who I am?
All you wanna do is see me turn into
A giant woman.
If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you're first in line to see my next video. And as usual, see you in the next one.